Imagine this. You walk to a river, watching water spiral effortlessly around rocks, creating patterns no engineer could design. Now imagine a man who claimed this spiral was the key not just to water, but to life, to energy, even to flight. Viktor Schauberger wasn't just observing streams, he was decoding a cosmic blueprint hidden in water itself. He believed that nature was not chaotic but intelligent, that rivers, forests, and even air followed laws deeper than science dared to admit. But what if I told you, this man didn't just dream theories? He built machines based on nature's hidden design. Engines that pulsed like rivers, turbines that spun like galaxies, devices that seemed to defy gravity. And then, mysteriously, he vanished. His inventions suppressed, his name erased from mainstream history. So who was Viktor Schauberger? And why did his vision of living energy become too dangerous for the world to see? Born in Austria in 1885, Schauberger grew up in forests, not libraries. While academics mocked him for rejecting textbooks, he trusted only one teacher, nature. He would spend hours by rivers, sketching whirlpools, watching how trout swam upstream with no effort, riding invisible currents. To him, this wasn't magic. It was a secret technology built into the natural world. Where science saw turbulence, Schauberger saw intelligence. Where engineers forced water through straight pipes, he believed flow should spiral like blood in veins. He built wooden pipes that transported water uphill without pumps. He designed machines that generated energy not by explosion, but by implosion, pulling inward, like a vortex. And when tested, these designs worked in ways that made conventional engineers deeply uncomfortable. Because if water alone could be harnessed to power cities, to create anti-gravity lift, what need would there be for oil, coal, or even engines of war? Decades later, science began to validate what Schauberger intuitively knew. Fluid dynamics now shows that spirals reduce resistance and amplify energy transfer. Biomimicry, copying nature's designs, is a rising field of engineering. And even aerospace research explores vortex propulsion similar to what Schauberger built in secret. But perhaps his most radical idea was this, that energy wasn't just mechanical, it was alive. He claimed water carried memory, information, and vitality, and that when mistreated, it died. Dead water could not sustain life. Living water could heal. Modern studies of water clusters, chai tea, structured water, and bioenergetics echo his claims that water can indeed store and transmit information beyond chemistry. And if water is the matrix of life, then Schauberger may have been centuries ahead of his time. So why did his inventions vanish? Why did governments and corporations bury his designs, buying patents only to lock them away? And why, after working with secret military projects, did Schauberger suddenly fall silent? Because his discoveries threatened the very foundation of the system. Think about it. If rivers could power cities, if implosion could replace combustion, if machines could fly by mimicking trout swimming upstream, then energy scarcity itself was an illusion. The matrix we live in thrives on controlled energy. Oil, electricity, fossil fuels, all linear, all destructive, all profitable. Schauberger's energy was different. It was cyclical, regenerative, abundant. It didn't burn, it flowed. And that meant freedom. Freedom not just for one person, but but for entire civilizations. So, just like Nikola Tesla before him, Schauberger was silenced. His research locked away. His inventions dismissed as madness, and his final years shrouded in mystery, as if the man himself dissolved back into the river he spent his life studying. But let's step back. What made Schauberger different wasn't just his machines. It was his way of seeing. He believed rivers were not resources, but teachers. That forests were not timber, but living organisms. That the earth itself breathed, inhaling and exhaling through cycles of water and energy. And maybe you felt this too. That moment of awe by a waterfall. That strange peace walking under trees. That feeling that nature is not silent, but speaking, if only we'd listen. For Schauberger, this wasn't poetry. It was physics. And his machines were not inventions, they were translations. A way of giving human hands the language of rivers and stars. Two symbols stand before us. On one side, the combustion engine. Straight lines. Explosions. Noise. On the other, the spiral vortex. Silent. Regenerative. Alive. One destroys forests to mine fuel. The other flows with the forest itself. One locks us into scarcity. The other opens us to abundance. Which symbol defines your future? The machine of extraction or the river of life? So how do you reclaim Schauberger's forgotten wisdom? Sit by a river. Watch how it flows. Drink water that is alive, not dead. Question every system that sells you scarcity. Seek technologies that align with life, not against it. Because real rebellion isn't just protest. It's relearning how to flow with what's already here. Viktor Schauberger once said, "Comprehend and copy nature." That is the path. Maybe his machines were taken. Maybe his name was erased. But his message is still here. That energy is alive. That water remembers. That the spiral of nature is not just outside you, but within you. And if you listen closely, you'll hear it. In the river, in your breath, in the pulse of life itself. Welcome to Fragments of Reality.